Mrs. Green Apple, yes, we are here to check out the new song that came out yesterday called Lulu. And, I'm actually really interested to check this out. If you've been following this channel, you might be expecting my next Mrs. Green Apple video was going to be the next one in my track-by-track listen through to the Attitude album, which I'm also reviewing at the current moment. But then I saw this pop up out of nowhere and I thought, I've got to check that out. It's a new song. People always want to hear the new songs. So I'm here to check this one out. No expectations at the moment. This band's been around for so long that I still feel that even now, when I must have done like 20 reactions to Mrs. Green Apple by this point, I still feel like I'm trying to get a handle on the different eras. I know they've like segmented the band history into actual eras, like, oh, this is the first era, second era, third era, whatever. But for me, I mean, I'm just kind of interested simply from the point of artistic development. How things have changed. It does seem that a lot of my favourite songs do seem to be in that period around when Attitude came out, which is one of the reasons I decided to do the track by track listen through to that, because it seems that the whole thing of having the 5-piece band really did, it just seemed to get the most out of their sound. But that's not to say there isn't really good stuff in the other eras as well. And I'm really interested to see what we get from this latest one. It does feel like the last few songs I've checked out from the ones that came out in 2025, they certainly lent into a direction where it was clearly much more, I want to say mainstream pop, but I mean that not in a negative way. If I was talking about mainstream pop, talking about a lot of what comes out in the rest of the world, I probably would be talking largely negatively. But one of the things I've always said about Mrs. Green Apple, which is so great, and about the Japanese mainstream pop scene as a general, is that even the mainstream pop has really good music. We think about things like YOASOBI's, Ado, and of course Mrs. Green Apple. And we're talking about artists who, and Ano as well, I must say. We're talking about artists who produce really interesting, well-crafted songs with interesting chord patterns, sounds, identities, melodies, and a lot of the time genuine messages. So Mrs. Green Apple, obviously, this is a singer-songwriter group with some really great songs behind them. I think I'd be interested to know how I feel about this one. I've enjoyed the most recent ones, but I do think that maybe the most recent ones aren't grabbing me quite as... I'm kind of enjoying, but I don't know if they're quite grabbing me as much on a, oh my God, I really love this level as some of the older ones. But hey, I'm always here, open-minded, interested to be surprised. It's the same songwriter, just several years later, so that's extra maturity. Let's jump into this. As always, we're totally honest on this channel, which is why I really appreciate you guys having such great things to say in the comments. We had great conversations about that. I always think that this is a medium for us to have proper conversations and enjoy sharing our love of music, rather than just, as some channels do, sitting there just going, oh my God, everything's brilliant, like and subscribe. So, I really enjoy sharing this. And I've been enjoying Mrs. Green Apple a lot, so I'm excited. I want to get kind of the same buzz out of this that I've been getting out of a lot of the Attitude album. Let's see. But of course, not saying everything has to sound the same. Anyway, I'm waffling too much. Let's go. Lulu is the name of the song, as I didn't say. Ah, it's a beautiful scene. Oh, I like the little piano chord there. That backing sound coming in is really cool. Okay. Liking that sort of gentle but rhythmic rhythm. If that wasn't an obvious comment. I feel like the song's still got room to expand, but it's already built up like a nice, good bounce. Oh, the piano is cool. I like that little rhythm there. Little counter rhythm going on there. I notice he likes those choruses that come on with like the beat on the first. It's kind of like really oddly rhythmed choruses are a thing that he really seems to enjoy. I think it was the song like About Me, I think was the name of it. He did something similar. The syncopation between the bass and the piano. Is that the moon? You're going to have some serious gravitational problems. Yeah, there's some creepy cult stuff happening in this video. That's a nice little loop there. Okay. There is a lot to talk about in this one. Okay, no doubt. All right, before I start talking about the music, which is obviously the main thing I am here to talk about, I will just say that there does appear to be a lot of stuff going on in the video that I did not entirely get. I'm going to be honest with you. There was some weird stuff. It was like the moon is obviously too close. Major gravitational problems on Earth. We had people with like weird magical things appearing in their eyes and what appeared to be some kind of like very strange people dancing around the fire. I don't know what's going on there. It was very beautifully filmed. I like that. But some people could probably get at this point jump in and say, well, Howard, if you listen to the lyrics, then you'd know what it was about. I'm going to be very clear with you guys because I had some comments about this previously. There is a reason why I don't turn on the lyrics. Now, I actually do understand probably more of the lyrics just by listening to the Japanese than you might know. But I'll be honest, I don't tend to judge songs on their lyrics so much unless the lyrics are absolutely exceptional. You know, in the very few cases where a song really kind of, you go, wow, that's really deep. I've got to be honest, most of the time I'm not wowed by lyrics in the way that most other people are. There's very few examples where I am. So I tend to find, if I try to be wowed by the lyrics, I think there's a good possibility that I might end up coming across a bit fake. So I focus more on what really to me hits me emotionally, which is the music, the sound, the way that you can convey so much emotion just from the audio. I mean, let's face it, you look at things like classical music, beautifully emotional without even having to say a word. You know, music should be able to do that. And this is, for me, this is his real strength. This is a songwriter, you know. He's definitely got a sound. I've noticed there's a lot of particular melodies and scales that he's very fond of, very certain chord patterns that are very much his signature sound. So in a way, this does feel very much like a Mrs. Green Apple song. I think this does do what you really want from a Mrs. Green Apple single, though, which is that it explores his sound, you know, the sound that fans would recognize, but it explores it in an interesting way. Like I think I kind of said the last couple of singles, they were nice, but they just kind of felt like that they felt quite safe. This felt like it went back in an interesting direction. If anything, I mean, ironically, in the intro, I was talking a little bit about how the songs from the Attitude era seemed to just, they seem to be clicking with me more. I think this actually does feel very much in line with that again. Actually, I quite like this because it has those little moments of nuance. I'm not expecting some super complex musical thing. What I'm expecting is those lovely little touches that just make Mrs. Green Apple songs usually so emotionally resonant, that make them feel like they got that extra kind of tangible little bit of soul. And for me here, a lot of it came through in like the interplay between, you listen to that bass and the bass line's doing some really interesting walking around, and then the piano's playing against it, and then you have the guitar on the other side, and between the piano, the guitar and the bass, and this is something that comes up again a lot in Mrs. Green Apple songs, but usually the best ones, is the fact that when you listen to the piano, the bass and the guitar, the three of them are playing off against each other, and they're just playing three completely different things, but none of them are forcing their way to the front. You just listen to them and you get this really beautiful balance between everything that's going on. And then when you combine that with in the verse where you've got that really I can't beatbox, but you've got that really quick little tapping sort of rhythm, and it's just got this sort of beautiful feeling where, again, the drums are doing the same thing. They're not forcing forwards, but they're just sort of tapping in a really interesting way, and it all sort of makes this beautiful bed of like multiple layers of sound. Where is the verse? Let's start from here. And you got the strings there as well. Maybe a bit further in. Where does the piano come in? Just listen to that. That little bit there, just a number of layers that are going on, and then you get this bit, and it's like the 1 2 3 1 2 3, like the 3 count over the 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 rhythm. It's kind of, it's not quite a 3/4 rhythm, but you can see there's like this allusion to like two rhythms over the top of each other. Yeah, this is just something that it feels like there's something going on at every moment, and at their best, that's what Mrs. Green Apple songs, I think, do for me. I don't think that there's a vast amount of variation in what they do in regards to scales or necessarily. Yeah, there is like a through line of familiar aspects in Mrs. Green Apple songs, but I do think they're very good at adding this sense of nuance and the feeling that you're listening to something that's genuinely well crafted. So yeah, for me, this isn't one of those songs where I'd say, oh, it stands out as being, oh, wow, it's a big different moment. Oh, they've really done something different they've not done before. But for me, this is just kind of like a song that cements that sense of quality, that sense that you listen to it, and even if it's not the most standout song I've ever heard from them, even if it's not a song that I would come back to because it's super catchy, it's a song that if I listen to it, every time I listen to it, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is a really well-crafted, nice piece of music. And the fact that Mrs. Green Apple keep on delivering that at their particular level, for me, is why I keep on coming back to them. And it's the fact that, although, again, there are those consistent things they always do in their songs, I like how they give each song just enough identity, just those little fresh ideas here and there. Like in this one, there's a little bit of a feeling that sonically it's leaning towards like some slightly more, shall we say, there is like a nostalgic sound to this. Like this build-up, when you listen to those backing sounds with the way that the, I think was it the brass that comes in at first? That, and then it goes into the strings. That's although it might have been the strings, just when distorted it sounds like brass. But the way that comes in, these little bits, they just add identity. So I enjoyed this. Again, I'm not going to say that this is probably their most standout song, but they got so many songs now anyway, it makes it harder for any song particularly to stand out. But I would say this is definitely them maintaining that sense of quality. And I love that. I love the fact they haven't dumbed down and lost their ability to do really cool things. So I enjoyed this. I think the video was absolutely weird and bonkers, and I don't know 100% I get it. And it was a little bit creepy and a little bit like some sort of cult. And I'm pretty sure the moon is not safe that close to Earth. Let's be serious now. Without all, and they were so close to the water, just a big old. But in all seriousness, though, I enjoyed this. I thought it was cool. Love to know what you guys think. As always, get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in the comments for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.